Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and you've come to video number 1 of the Basketweave Diamond Throw. In this video, we're going to be covering rows 1 through 17. Okay, to begin this project, let me tell you a few things you're going to need. For the throw only, you will need 7 scans of the Red Heart with Love. This is the recommended yarn. Of course, you may use whatever worsted weight yarn you choose, but just know that the results might differ slightly depending on the thickness of the yarn. Okay, these particular scans have 370 yards or 338 meters. They're 7 ounces. This is 100% acrylic. It's actually quite a nice yarn. You also are going to need a size J or 10 crochet hook. This is also 6.00 millimeter. Okay, and I also recommend that you have a yarn needle for hiding the loose ends once we finish. Okay, the other thing you're going to need, I highly recommend that you download the pattern. You can download the pattern. It's free. This is courtesy of Red Heart Yarns. You can find this pattern at www.redheart.com, and you can search Basketweave Diamond Throw and Pillow in their search bar, and that should take you there pretty well. Or you can even just Google Basketweave Diamond and a Throw and Pillow, and that should also pull it up. Now, should you want to make the pillow also, be sure that you purchase 3 extra scans of yarn. 10 scans will make the complete set. But in this video series, we're only going to be covering the throw. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. I am using my larger crochet hook, which is a size J. And the first thing we're going to do is chain 153. Okay, we begin with our slip knot. Give it a tug. And we're going to go to 153. I just wanted to give you a little helpful hint for how to count that many stitches. I usually count by 5s. And do 5 chains, reposition, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reposition again. 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. In this way, it's easy to stop and pause should you need to, if someone asks you a question or distracts you in any way. That way you don't totally lose your count. So go ahead and chain 153. Now that we've completed our chain of 153 chains, we're going to go ahead to row number 1, which says to single crochet in second chain from hook and in each chain across. So here's the first chain and the second chain. We're going to go ahead and single crochet, and I just crochet in one of the arms of the V, or this side here that's showing of the chain stitch all the way across. You can work in the back bump if you'd like, but I think you might find it a little more difficult for this pattern, because when we come back around, we are going to work in the remaining chain. Okay, so go ahead and work those single crochets. When you finish, you should have 152 single crochets. At the end of row 1, we're going to turn. We're going to chain 1. Now the next 2 rows we are going to do is called the front ridge, or the low front ridge. And in these 2 rows, we're going to work the first row in this loop only, the front loop only, and then we will turn, and then we'll work the remainder, row 3 in the remaining loop, which will be the loop right here. Okay, so just wanted to be a little clear on that. And to start, we are going to skip the first stitch only for this low front ridge, and we're going to work a slip stitch in working only in the front loop of the next stitch. Okay, so just slip stitch in each stitch all the way across the row. Okay. One more thing I should mention before I finish this second row is if your piece is a little curvy like this, please don't worry about that. Now if it's super tight after the next row, you may have to go back and rework your turning chain to be a little less tight. If you tend to crochet very tightly on your chains, you may want to bump up a size to maybe a size K just for the foundation chain. But if it's just a little curvy like this, you're going to be fine. After we work this next row, it's going to straighten out. In fact, I can show you, it's already straightening out for me. Okay, so just wanted to let you know that information to ease your mind. I've worked my slip stitch all the way across, so I'm going to go ahead and work the slip stitch in the last single crochet. I'm not working in the turning chain, and we're going to chain one, turn, or turn, chain one, however you prefer to do that. And now we're going to begin row number 3, which is simply to single crochet in the remaining loop, or the free loop of the row that we just finished. So working in the loop that remains, we're going to work single crochets all the way across. And just a note for those of you who are conscious of the stitch count, we are going to work in each single crochet. So even though we've skipped the first single crochet of row number 2 with the slip stitches, we are going to single crochet in each stitch across here on this row number 3. So that's going to keep our stitch count constant. So at the end of this row, you should have 152 single crochets worked in that free loop. And then let me just show you a preview. This is the way, when we finish, we're going to have this little ridge that's going to be left to give us a border for the texture we're going to be crocheting. So I've worked single crochet in the remaining loop all the way across, and the last stitch I'm going to work in the last single crochet. I'm not working in the turning chain or anything like that. Okay, now we're ready to start row 4. We're going to turn. We're going to chain 1, and this is the beginning of what we're calling the cable pattern or the cable stitch. Okay, this is a little bit trickier, so I will go slow and repeat a few times for you to see this. Okay, we're going to begin by working through both loops now. Single crochet in the first stitch. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, now we're going to turn, and we're going to work in these 3 chains. We're going to turn our work, and just working along one side like we did before, work 1 single crochet in each of the 3 chains. That's 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to slip stitch in that first single crochet. Slip, stitch. Okay, now we're going to turn again. And this is with the front side facing again. And we are going to single crochet in those 2 stitches that we skipped. 1, 2. Okay, so that's the first cable. So we're going to do that all the way across the row. I will do that a few more times with you. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we've already used this stitch, so we're going to skip the next 2 single crochets. 1, 2, single crochet in the next one, turn to work in the chains, and we're going to single crochet in each of the 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch in that single crochet. Okay, and then turn again and work a single crochet in those 2 stitches that we skipped. Okay, now let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3 chains, skip the next 2 stitches. These are the next 2 stitches that haven't been used. Single crochet in the next. Now turn to work in the chains. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, slip stitch, and sometimes it may help to pull back this a little bit. Slip stitch in that single crochet, turn again, and then single crochet in the 2 stitches that we skipped. 1, 2. Now let's show you what this should look like. It should look like this, which is, I think, is kind of a cool stitch. I've really enjoyed working this stitch over the years. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time, and I'm going to show you a different way that you can use to turn. 1, 2, 3 chains. Now I don't show this to you to confuse you or anything, but just so that you don't end up with a twisted mess down here by continuing to turn in the same direction. Okay, so we're going to skip the next 2, single crochet, and we turn just like we've been doing. Single crochet in those 3 chains, 2, 3, and then slip stitch. Now what I like to do is I bring my yarn to the other side and then I turn back towards the opposite direction, and then I work 2 single crochets, 1 in each of the stitches that were skipped. Let me show that to you one more time. And again, you can do it either way. Chain 3, skip the next 2 unworked stitches, single crochet in the next stitch, turn, single crochet in the 3 chains, 1 stitch in each chain. I'm just working on 1 loop there, and then working through both loops, slip stitch. Now I can turn this way again, or I could bring my yarn around my hook like so, and then turn this direction, and that way I don't get a lot of tangled mess at the end. Okay, then single crochet in those 2 stitches. Okay, so either way you do it, the stitches work out the same. So go ahead and work this all the way across the row. Okay, I've worked the cable stitch all the way across, and then I get to the last stitch and I just single crochet in the last stitch like so. Okay, beginning row 5, we're going to be working behind the cables. You're going to chain 1 single crochet in the first single crochet. Now we're going to be working behind the cables themselves. Okay, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then I want you to work 2 single crochets behind the next, or in the next single crochet. It might be a little tricky to see. I'm going to do this again. So behind the next cable, I'm going to work 1 single crochet, and I'm going to pull this back, the cable back a little bit, and then work 2 single crochets in that space. 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, and as I pull the cable back a little bit, 2 single crochets behind the next. I want to stop and take a look at this and try to explain. Okay, behind each cable you should have 3 stitches. So you have 1 single crochet behind that first single crochet. This is the one that we skipped when we formed the cable, and then 2 behind the next, 1, then 2, and this way the stitch count does stay constant. It does stay 152 stitches. Okay, so 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and 2 single crochets in the next single crochet, 1, and as I pull back this cable a little bit, 2 single crochets. So go ahead and work that all the way across the row. Okay, work row 5 all the way across to the end, and it's a little hard to see this last stitch because this is way back from row 4 right here, but there is a single crochet. Go ahead and put that in the last stitch like so. Okay, now we're going to turn, and for rows 6 and 7 we are simply going to repeat rows 2 and 3. I'll do a quick review of that. We chain 1, we're going to skip the first stitch. Now we're only going to be working in the front loops. Again, this is the same ridge that we did here. Okay, so we're just going to work slip stitches, slip stitch all the way across, working in the front loop only. Okay, so go ahead and do that all the way across. After working the slip stitches all the way across, I'm going to turn, chain 1, and I'm going to work in the remaining loop only of those single crochets, and just single crochet in that remaining loop all the way across. Also notice I did not work in the turning chain, and this end will be fine. Okay, so go ahead and single crochet in that remaining loop all the way across the row. Row 7 ends with the last single crochet worked in the last remaining loop of those single crochets. I'm going to turn, and this is what you should have at this stage. Okay, we have low front ridge, nice cable stitch, and another low front ridge. Okay, now we begin the basket weave, and as we begin this row, we're going to chain 2, and what I'm going to show you now, you're going to do for rows 8, 9, and 10. So this is starting on row 8, and you're going to do this for the next 3 rows. Okay, so I'm going to not work in this first stitch. I'm going to work a front post double crochet around the second single crochet. And yes, it is possible to do post stitches around single crochets. I get that question a lot. It's not as comfortable or as easy as in a double crochet, but your hook, as you see, fits around that small stitch, and you just complete the double crochet. Okay, we're going to do that 3 times. That's 1, 2, and 3. That's the third front post double crochet. If you've never done a post stitch before, you're simply wrapping the hook around the body of the stitch. You're not going in through the top loops, you're just wrapping your hook around. Okay, I've completed 3 front post double crochets. Now I'm going to do 3 back post double crochets, and that's coming in the back door, I like to say, and kind of tying the stitch like you normally would, completing it in the back. So we come around the back door, around the front, and out the back again. Okay, so now I've done 3 back post double crochets. Now we're just going to alter that all the way across. 3 front post double crochets. You can see how easy this can be working in those single crochets. And then 3 back post double crochets. Okay, so we're just alternating 3 in the front, 3 in the back. And we're going to do this all the way across the row. Okay, after working 3 front post double crochets and 3 back post double crochets alternating all the way across, I end by working a half double crochet in the last stitch by working through the top loops. Okay, now if your stitches didn't come out evenly, or if you have too few or too many and they didn't come out evenly at the end, it could be that you've skipped stitches, or perhaps didn't do 3 in the front, 3 in the back with the post stitches across. So you might want to do a quick visual check to see where you may have gone wrong if you did. Okay, otherwise we're just going to go forward. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn, and beginning row number 9, we're going to chain 2. We're doing the same thing that we did for row number 8. So I'm going to go ahead and work rows 9 and 10, which is the same as row 8, and that is after the chain 2, we're going to do 3 front post double crochets, and then we're going to do 3 back post double crochets, just working them coming in the back door there. Okay, so 3 front post double crochets, 3 back post double crochets all the way across. Go ahead and complete row 9 and row 10 in that manner. At the end of row 10, just like on row 8 and 9, end with a half double crochet worked in the turning chain. And I want to show you what you should have at this stage. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 rows of the basket weave. Now we're going to start with row number 11, and what I'm going to show you next, you're going to do 3 rows. You're going to do this for row 11, 12, and 13. Okay, you're going to chain 2. First you turn with the, okay, if we have the back side facing for this time around, but when you do row number 12, you'll have the front side facing, and then row 13, you'll have the back side facing. Okay, this is the row in which we reverse the basket weave. Okay, we've been working front post and then, well, 3 front posts and then 3 back posts. Now we're going to reverse it. If you have a front post, you're going to work a back post. So you're going to work 3. You're going to begin each row with 3 back post double crochets. And then you're going to work 3 front post double crochets. Now this row number 11 is the only row that you do the opposite of what you see. When you go through with rows 12 and 13, you are going to be doing, like if you see a front post, you work a front post. If you see a back post, you work a back post. You're going to try to match what you've already done on rows 12 and 13, but on row 11 is where you actually reverse it. So see, we have 3 front posts, so we're going to do 3 back post double crochets. And then we do 3 front post double crochets. And we do this all the way across the row, and then work your half double crochet in the turning chain. Now as you come back around for the next round, you're going to be starting, for the next row, you'll actually be starting with the back post. It will look like this. So you'll just work 3 back posts, and then you work 3 front posts, 3 back posts, and then 3 front posts all the way across for the next 2 rows as well. And you can already see the basket weave effect coming into play here. Okay, so go ahead and do the next 3 rows. After completing row 13, I've turned, and I want to give you a view of what you should have at this point. Okay, in regards to the basket weave, you have the first 3 rows here, the second 3 rows here, and now we're going to do the next 3 rows, and we're going to chain 2, and the directions say for rows 14 through 16, repeat rows 8 through 10. 8 through 10 are the rows here, and that states 4 front post double crochet in the first 3, in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to back post in the next 3 stitches. Okay, and we're going to repeat that all the way across, and this is another one of those rows where we're reversing what we had done in the previous row. So we're going to do 3 front post double crochets, and then we work 3 back post double crochets, and go ahead and do this all the way across the row. Okay, at the end of row 14, we're going to work a half double crochet in the chain 2. We're going to turn, and then we're going to repeat this 2 more times all the way across. At the end of row 16, we work our half double crochet in that turning chain, and let's take a look at where we are now. Okay, so we should have 3 sets of 3 rows each of the basket weave. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn, and we're going to work the last row of this video segment. We're going to chain 1. This is row 17, and it says to single crochet in each chain or in each stitch across, and then turn. So we're going to just do that as it says, simply single crochet, working through the top 2 loops of each stitch all the way across. Okay, I've ended row 17. Notice that my last stitch was worked in the last single crochet. Do not work in the turning chain. If you do work in the turning chain, you'll be adding stitches, and that would not be good. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn and show you the front side as we end the first video. Okay, we have worked the low front ridge, the cable stitch, another low front ridge, and then we've worked 9 rows of basket weave, and then the single crochet row to discontinue the basket weave. Go ahead and join me in video number 2 where we'll continue on with starting with row number 18. God bless.